While some TV shows from the 2010s and 2020s seemed like they could capture the spirit of Gilmore Girls, none of them measure up. There's something uniquely special about the story of Rory, Alexis Bledel, and her young mom Lorelai Gilmore, Lauren Graham. Every time you drink a cup of coffee, indulge in some junk food, or visit a charming diner or small town, it's hard not to think of these beloved characters. Since the show ended in 2007 and it was a long time before the 2016 Netflix revival A Year in the Life, and we still hope for another Gilmore Girls reunion, we've all hoped to find another cozy show that would make us just as happy. Unfortunately, while these series promised comforting tones or another small town setting, they just don't feel the same. Sweet Magnolias, 2020 present. Noreen, Maddie, Helen, and Dana sue in Sweet Magnolias. The Netflix drama will appeal to Gilmore Girls fans show since it has a comforting tone and is set in a charming town called Serenity, where everyone knows each other's business. But even though it's enjoyable, you won't have the same feeling that you do when you settle in for a Gilmore Girls rewatch. Sweet Magnolias lacks standout episodes that you can watch over and over again or talk about with your friends. It has big twists and cliffhanger and plays more like a soap opera than Rory and Lorelai's story, which often involves realistic, small moments like grabbing junk food for a movie night. While the series is popular and has run for several seasons, you're not going to care as deeply about these characters as you do the Gilmores and unique townspeople like Luke Danes, Scott Patterson, Miss Patty, Liz Torres, and Kirk Glisson, Sean Gunn. The Bold Type, 2017 to 2021. Kat, Sutton, and Jane hugging in the Bold Type. It's easy to picture studious and smart Rory Gilmore working at Scarlet, the New York City set magazine where Kat Edison, Aisha Dee, Sutton Brady, Megan Fahey, and Jane Sloan, Katie Stevens, become best friends. Jane and Rory are also both hardworking and ambitious characters who balance love lives and career dreams. The Bold Type is about a genuine friendship, and it's worth watching for that reason. But while it's definitely an appealing light-hearted show, it doesn't have the same passionate fanbase as Gilmore Girls. You'll likely reach the end and be satisfied, and you'll enjoy keeping up with the characters as they learn rough lessons and grow. Ultimately, though, the show doesn't truly capture the vibe of GG or achieve that perfect blend of serious and hilarious plotlines. Heart of Dixie, 2011 to 2015. Zoe Hart, Heart of Dixie, looking at someone. When you watch the first episode of Heart of Dixie, it's tempting to wish that Bluebell, Alabama, was as charming and lovely as Stars Hollow. Dr. Zoe Hart, Rachel Bilson, makes a move to this small place and finds herself making new friends and falling for Wade Kinsella, Wilson Bethel, and George Tucker, Scott Porter. It may have a love triangle, and these love interests are diverse as Jess Mariano, Milo Ventimiglia, Dean Forrester, Jared Padalecki, and Logan Huntsberger, Matt Chutry, but you likely won't feel as strongly about who Zoe should be with. Heart of Dixie also delves into the theme of whether money truly solves problems or makes people content as Rich Lemon Breland, Jamie King, has followed her family's dreams her whole life but is now unsure it's the right path. While it's a fun show, you can't help but want to watch Emily, Kelly Bishop, and Richard Gilmore, Edward Herman, instead, whose storylines cover important topics like money, family conflict, expectations, and happiness. Jane the Virgin, 2014 to 2019. Jane, Gina Rodriguez, in Jane the Virgin. Jane, Gina Rodriguez, in Jane the Virgin looking serious. Jane the Virgin has a sweet and heartwarming tone, tells a compelling family tale, and aired for 5 seasons. It has a lot in common with Rory and Lorelai's beloved story, but ultimately hasn't become as overwhelmingly popular. The premise is a bit sillier and less realistic. A young woman becomes pregnant after a doctor's visit where she is artificially inseminated. But Jane faces parenthood at a young age, just like her mom, which is also a situation that Rory finds herself in at the end of the Netflix revival A Year in the Life. Jane is also the subject of a love triangle, just like Rory, and has feelings for Michael Cordero, Brett Dier, and Rafael Solano, Justin Baldoni. Since Jane the Virgin is inspired by telenovelas, the storylines are melodramatic, and that's how it's supposed to be. That's where the similarities to Gilmore Girls end, since Rory and Lorelai's problems revolve around school, work, and relationship issues, not life-or-death scenarios. It has a fun and moving tone, though, and great representation of Latinas on TV. Parenthood, 2010 to 2015. Lauren Graham as Sarah smiling in a cozy sweater in Parenthood. When you heard Lauren Graham would be playing another cool mom on TV, it was hard not to think the show would be like Gilmore Girls. But despite Parenthood's many strengths, that wasn't the case. Although Sarah Braverman is as intelligent and likable as Lorelai, she doesn't talk as fast and lacks her singular clever sense of humor. Sarah also struggles to bond with her daughter, Amber, Mae Whitman. And since the show is set in Berkeley, California, it doesn't have the quirky, comforting small-town feel of Stars Hollow. More of an ensemble drama juggling several characters than a relatable look at a mother and daughter's journey, Parenthood is more somber and much less funny than Gilmore Girls. It's still an excellent show with heart and emotion, but it has a different sensibility. The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, 2017 to 2023. Midge Maisel, Rachel Brosnahan, smiling at a table in The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. It was easy to wonder if Amy Sherman-Palladino's second most popular show would be just like the beloved one set in Stars Hollow. No matter how fun, dynamic, and impressive it is, The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel still pales a bit in comparison to Gilmore Girls. Midge Maisel, Rachel Brosnahan, and Lorelai are both quick thinkers who speak faster than anyone else, and Midge has a complicated dynamic with her parents, just like Lorelai does. But while the show is a great meditation on feminism, comedy, and family, it's not the same. Perhaps it's the fact that it's a period piece and therefore a little more niche and less universal than GG, or maybe some missed it when it streamed on Prime Video. Either way, Maisel never got as much attention as the WBCW drama. Bunheads, 2021. The teenage characters in their ballet uniforms in class on Bunheads. Another show created by Amy Sherman-Palladino, Bunheads seems to have all the hallmarks of Gilmore Girls: fast-paced dialogue, a smart main character, a small town, and even Kelly Bishop. But the ballet drama comedy only lasted one season on ABC Family, and it hasn't had the same staying power. Like Lorelai, Michelle Sims, Sutton Foster, is a determined young woman who makes a life for herself. She's not a single mom, but she does bond with teenage girls when she teaches at Paradise Dance Academy in a small California town. Although there are many enjoyable elements here, Bunheads ultimately doesn't have the same spark as Gilmore Girls. It's not as funny or memorable, and you might not want to rewatch it as much as you do sweet episodes like Rory's Birthday Parties or The Lorelai's First Day at Chilton.